In keeping with my trend of reviewing shows years after they come out, I finally got around to watching Code Geass. If by some unfortunate circumstance you've never heard of Code Geass, then here's what it is. It's like a sci-fi version of Death Note, but for Hoi 4 players. That joke might annoy some people, but luckily they won't be watching this anyway. Also, I'll be talking about both seasons of the anime, since treating this completely separate is pointless. However, since I literally finished the show yesterday, I haven't had time to watch any spin-offs or movies, and don't really want to anyway. Enjoy. First things first, the production. The art style is very reminiscent of early 2000s anime, as you would expect, but it's still pretty high quality. The character designs are fairly strong, although a few of the background characters tend to blend together, and everyone is about 70% leg. The animation is pretty consistent, so much so that if there were any Sakuga moments, I didn't really notice them. The only truly outstanding thing about the production values is the music, which is instantly recognisable regardless of when you first watched it, and I'm actually listening to right now. Both the OST and the openings are fantastic, and Colours deserves its place as one of the best note openings of all time. My only real complaint about the production is there was far too much fan service, especially in the first season. I'm pretty sure at least half of the first 3 episodes showed either C2 or Callum naked at some point or another, and there's enough of it that I definitely won't be showing it to my parents. Next, let's talk about the writing. Code Geass is an original anime, so its premise and setting are more interesting than most. Britannia definitely feels like an indestructible empire, and that helps to set the stakes for the rest of the show. The stakes overall were well executed, staying high enough to create tension, but not so high as to be unbelievable. Meanwhile, the plot itself had enough twists to open a wine bottle, but you know what, doesn't really matter. Most of them weren't completely unreasonable, and they definitely made it a more interesting watch. The ending is a great example of this. It was pretty reasonably foreshadowed, but not so much to make it predictable, and it had a huge emotional impact. That's the mark of a good plot twist, and it's part of why it's generally considered one of the best endings in anime history. Of course, it wouldn't have worked nearly as well as it did without the characters that made it happen, and it was a great showcase of them as people. Lelouch's "the king must lead" ideology, Suzaku's belief in atoning for one's crimes, and Nanali's emotional nature. Although, speaking of characters, I need to say, good grief guys, some of you need to calm the fuck down about Lina. I don't think I went one episode without checking the comments and seeing at least one massive thread of people ranting about her. I get it, she's written to be dislikable, just look at what she did to Table Queen after all. But this is ridiculous, alright? There's a bunch of pictures on a screen, she's not real, she can't hurt you. Everything's going to be alright, so just calm down, okay? Mildly rabid fanbase aside, I really enjoyed watching Code Geass. Even if a few parts were a bit weird, remember the cat episode? The overall show was pretty well written, with an ensemble cast of engaging characters, and Rollo, and an absolutely stunning ending. Like, Orange is an orange farmer now. If that's not genius, I don't know what is. So, in conclusion, Code Geass is the most successful advert for Pizza Hut in history and deserves a 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Lelouch v Britannia orders you to subscribe. What are you doing? Come on, get going. Why haven't you done it yet? Good grief.